Hello everyone, hope you're having a great day. Today in this video we're going to learn how to use Google Sheets and kind of the way that it simplifies using numbers and kind of putting in equations and simple equations how to fill cells. So we're going to walk through that, and what I need you guys to do is open a browser, either Safari or Chrome, it's up to you. And what we're going to do is we're going to have two tabs open. As you can see, I already have a lot of tabs open. But the only two that you guys really need is Google Classroom, which is the one that I've got here, as well as Google Drive. So take a second and go ahead and go to Google Classroom, have that open, and then click on your little plus tab over here and go to Google Drive. And once you guys do that, you should be able to see the new assignment that I've posted. And what it is the multiplication table using Google Sheets. Okay. And in here, I have posted an instruction sheet that you guys have, and also that I'm going to go over in this video and kind of follow through. So hopefully, as we're flipping back and forth, things kind of make sense and you guys can actually see that. So what you're going to do first, now we've got our two tabs open, so Classroom and Drive, is double click on your multiplication assignment sheet. Now mine looks a little different just because I am the teacher here. I'm going to go to Instructions, and this is what you guys should kind of see, and it's the creating a multiplication table on Sheets. It's a PDF file, so we're going to double click on that, and what it does is it opens up all of the instructions that we are going to go over for this assignment. Now as you can see, it's got this open Sheets. We've kind of gone through that already. We've signed into Google, or to our Google account. Everything else we're just going to kind of ignore for right now, so don't worry about all this right here, and don't worry about all this red either. So we can just go ahead and scroll down until we have the title of your table at the top. And we're just going to stop right there for a second. Now we're going to go to Google Drive. All right, and like I said, mine looks a little different just because I have much more stuff. But you guys should have a computers folder. Okay, and I want you to right now to go ahead and double click on that. And in yours, you definitely have the app finder that we did earlier. But I'm not sure if you have a whole lot of stuff other than that right now. So just hold tight for a second. Now I'm going to go to multiplication table. Okay, because that's where my instruction sheet is. All right, and I am going to double click on the instructions, okay, because now I have the instruction sheets open for myself right here. What you guys are going to want to do is actually in your 6th grade computer folder, okay, you're going to two-finger click, and you're going to go down to the green one that says Google Sheets, because Google Sheets is what we're going to actually use to make this multiplication table. So go ahead and click on that once. Okay, and now you guys should have a blank spreadsheet. That's actually what this is called, is a spreadsheet. And what these spreadsheets are, they're full of cells. Each one of these is a cell. Okay, so it goes A, B, C, D, E, all the way over to Z. And it goes all the way down to pretty much infinite numbers. Okay, so you can make the spreadsheet as big as you want. These are called cells. This cell in particular is called A1. See, so I'm under A, I click on A, and it's even with 1, that's A1. This is B1, C1, okay, A2, A3, B3, B2. Okay, so you kind of have a general grasp about what cell is what. So as we go along here, that you guys won't be completely confused as we get started. Now what I'm going to go do is I got to go back to my instructions. Okay, and you guys should have your instructions open here on Google Classroom. So as we're flipping back and forth between these tabs, you can have your multiplication table right here, and you can have your instructions right here. So the tabs are right next to each other. That way it's easier to flip back and forth as I do, and you follow the instructions. And feel free to pause this video at any time. Go at your own pace. No rush. So we can always go back and pause and continue on later. So the first thing I want to do is go back to my spreadsheet, and up here where it says Untitled Spreadsheet, I click once, and I'm just going to title that Multiplication and Table. Okay, because that's what we're going to call it. Once you do that, you can either click in one of these cells to drop back down here or hit Enter, kind of up to you. So that's our first step, and then let's go back to our instructions. So number 1, tap on cell D1 and drag the selection to H1. So let's find D1. Okay, so D and then 1, and then we got to go all the way to H1. So if you see that I've clicked on D1, it turns blue. Now that would be E1. So I'm going to stay on D1, and now I'm going to click, hold it, and I drag all the way over to H1. And you can see that it's all blue. That tells you that all of those specific cells are actually highlighted. All right, now we're going to skip to number 3, and we're going to tap on merge cells. Now that may sound confusing. You might be like, where is merge cells? Well, up here, as we go along, these are all different tools, and I'm not even clicking on these. I just hover over them, and it will actually tell me what they are. Okay, and the one that we want is merge cells, so I find the one that says merge cells, and I'm just going to go ahead and click on that and see what happens. And now you can notice that my D1 all the way through H1 has become one giant cell. So we still have these little tiny ones, but D1 through H1 is now one cell. Okay, so that makes things a little more convenient. So number 4, we're going to click on Paint Can, and that's pretty specific because what we're looking for actually does look like a paint can. And right here, as you can see, it says Fill Cover if we just hover over it. And I'm going to click on that. And what this is going to do is it's going to make that cell that we merged from D1 to H1, it's going to make one color that we like. So I could choose any color I want. I could choose green. If you like green, I could choose baby blue or turquoise, however you like. But I'm going to go with a yellow right now because I like the yellow. All right, so now you can see that I've chose the paint can yellow, and that entire one cell is merged. Okay, and now it's a colored yellow. Next thing we need to do, okay, is we're going to actually type in this, and we're going to put our name in there. Okay, so step number 6, we're kind of going to do it a little different than the instructions say, so just follow along here. As I go back to my multiplication table, I can actually type into this cell. So what I'm going to do is double click, okay, and once I double click, I'm going to start typing. I'm going to type my name, and there you go, okay. Now, I don't like that it's not in the middle. I don't really like that font. I don't really like black as a color, so we can make this a little more exciting. So what we're going to do is we're going to click and drag, okay, and make Mr. Woolard or your name completely blue, and that means that we've selected it. First thing I want to do is I'm going to change the font. I'm going to go ahead and make it size 18. Okay, so now you can see that my cell's gotten bigger and my font is a lot bigger as well. Next thing I want to do is I want to check out some fonts. So I can click on these, and it's the Arial. It's a little drop-down tab. And you can actually scroll, and there's quite a few that you can choose. And I'm going to go with permanent marker, okay, just because it kind of looks cool. I like how it looks. And then the last thing that I want to do is I want to center this. Okay, so it's over here on the left. So I'm going to go back up here in the toolbars. I'm going to hover and hover and hover until I find how we align it. Now this one says horizontal line. I want to click on this little drop down arrow, and as you can see, the left one is green. That means that we're hanging out in the left portion here, but I want to get back to the middle. Okay, so I'm just going to find the center, and voila, it is centered. Okay, and now I want to change my text color. So I'm going to double click, I'm going to highlight all of that. And you see this little A right here, if I highlight it or hover over it, it says text color. And now I can choose whatever color that I want, just like we did for the fill for our other cells. So I'm going to make it blue. And as you can see there, now I have a larger cell space, and I've got a yellow background with a blue font fill. Right, and I kind of like how that looks. So I'm going to go back to my instructions here. Okay, and what we just did actually is all of this. So this discover how. I've walked you through that, and you guys know at the top now of your toolbar how to do that. So we're going to go ahead and scroll down here to build your table and learn how to autofill. And autofill, kind of the first thing that I said in this video, is something really cool because you can actually put a few numbers in and then click and drag, and it'll actually fill out everything for you. Okay, and that's what we really want, and that's what makes this really accessible. So number 1, okay, so in each cells A3 and B2, I'm going to enter 1, okay, and cells A4, C2, enter 2, and cells A5 and D2, enter 3. And I know this sounds like a lot, but like I said, just follow along and go at your own pace, and we can kind of get through this. So the first thing we want to do is go to A3 and B2 and enter 1. So let's go to A3 and hit 1, and then B2, enter 1. And just like that, okay? Now this is really important. Make sure that they're kind of across from each other. So I've got A3 right here and B2 right here. That's very important, okay? Make sure that they're not next to each other. They have to be kind of staggered right here, okay? I'll go back to my instructions. Now, A4 and C2, enter 2. A4, C2. So A4, 2, and C2, 2. And as you can see, I'm going down in this column, okay, and I'm going across in this column, okay? We like that, all right? That's how it should look so far. And go back to my instructions. And lastly, A5 and D2 are 3. So A5 and D2 are 3. And as you can see, I've got 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. So pretty simple right there. And then as long as you guys have it to where it's 3 here and then 3 here, okay? As long as they're kind of catty-corner away from each other, then that's perfect. So let's go back to our instructions. And number 2, so select cells A3 through A5 and drag selection row all the way down to 22. Okay, so let's go back here, A3 through A5. So A3 through A5, just like that. Okay, so I'm going to click, one finger click, drag, and now they're all blue. And I released, okay, and I haven't clicked anywhere else because I don't want to. Okay, and that tells me that I have everything that I want highlighted. So now what we're going to do is we're going to actually grab this little square, and as you can see, my mouse actually changes. It turns into these little crosshairs. Okay, that's what we want. So we don't want it to be a little arrow like this. We want it to end up with that little crosshair. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to left finger click, or one finger click, and with my other finger, or my other hand, I'm going to go ahead and drag that all the way down to 22. Okay, it comes with these little lines here, as you can see as I'm moving. And we want to keep holding that until we get all the way to 22 and then release. And just like that, once we release, you can see that I've got 1, 2, 3, but now I have all the way down to 20. Okay, so that's kind of how Google Sheets works, in the fact that it fills in numbers for you just because it's built into the actual software. So it makes things a lot easier for us, so we don't have to manually enter all of those numbers. It saves us a bunch of time. Okay, so we've done that right here. And now what we need to do is, just as we did for column A, we need to do for columns B2 through D2, and we're going to drag all the way to column U. Okay, so just like I said, this goes all the way A all the way to Z. So U is actually going to be right here. Okay, and it's actually going to be off the screen. So you see I've scrolled over to U, and you can't actually see all the work that we've done because it doesn't quite fit on the screen. Okay, but that's totally fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on 1. Okay, so B2, remember this right here is cell B2 because it's B and then 2. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to one finger click and drag until it's all highlighted to 3. So just like I did right here, I'm going to do right over here. Okay, now this is important. Like I said, you can't see U, but that's okay because we're going to click and drag, and we're just going to hold our finger on the mouse and keep holding, and scroll over, and my screen will actually automatically move. So I'm going to try to get my crosshairs here again. Okay, and you notice that my mouse changes. That's just perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to one finger click. As you can see, the dotted line shows up again. And then now this is the part where the screen will start to move if I keep going to the right. So you think I've ran out of room, that's okay. I keep moving my screen, and now I can go all the way to U. So you can see that I've made it all the way to U right here. If I kept going, I could go all the way to Z, but I don't want to. So I'm going to keep holding, and once I've got it to the U, okay, because this is the U area that I want, it stops right here. Okay, now I'm going to release, and just like that, okay, we've got all the way to 20. So what we've done is we've gone all the way to 20 down here, and all the way to 20 right here. Okay, so now our chart's even, so it's 20 by 20, so to speak. Okay, so now let's go back to our little instructions here. And this is the really important part, okay, because we're actually going to use a formula to make the sheets calculate for you. So it's basically going to be a little calculator for you. It's going to be great. All right, so the first step that we need to do is tap on cell B3, then click next to FX. Okay, actually, we don't really have to do that. We can go ahead and click right here. And I've double clicked on this, and you can actually see that it's all blue. So you guys know that we can actually copy this. So I'm going to hit Command C because that's what's copied. Okay, so I'm going to copy this equation. That's equals money sign, capital A3, star, capital B, money, and 2. That may seem kind of crazy, but you guys have been coding, so you kind of understand different things mean different letters mean different codes. And this is a code to help actually do multiplication for you. So I've got this copied. All right, now I'm going to go to cell B3. Okay, or I'm going to go up to this fx once I've got this copy. So I'll go back up here, okay, and I'm going to go B3. I'm going to double click on that, and then you see this fx right here? That's where we kind of want to paste that equation that we've copied. So I double clicked on that, but I go up here. Actually, I'm just going to double click on that and then paste in there. Okay, and once I paste in there, you can see that there's my equation, and it actually goes up to the top. So that's exactly what we want. I'm going to go ahead and hit enter, and now it fills in a 1 for me. Okay, so that's kind of right. Now, you know that you do this right, because if I click back on this cell, so the B3 cell, you can see that this equation is in there correctly. Okay, so that's the best way to do that. So we double clicked on this, made it all blue. We hit Command C, okay, to copy that. We went here, we double clicked on B3, and we hit Command V because that's our paste shortcut key. And now it shows up in our fx equation, okay? And now I click somewhere else and I should have a little 1 right there. And that tells you that you did it right. Now, we've gotten through this step, okay? And now what I want to do is select B3 and drag to B22, okay? Now I'll tap on the selection, tap autofill. I shouldn't have to do that just because this updates and these instructions are a little old, so it should actually fill in. Okay, so we're back. I had a little minor difficulties right there, but I think we got them all fixed up. All right, so picking up where we left off, we're going to go now to section 3, or number 3 here. So number 3, now select B3 and drag to B22. And I'm going to go back to my multiplication chart, and you can see that I've still got my A3, B2 here. Okay. And now I'm going to get my little crosshairs again, and we're going to drag from B3 all the way down to B22. So I make sure I get my crosshairs, I click hold, and now I drag, and it may not look like much has been done here. But remember, this is a multiplication table, so it's actually doing math here, and we can't even really notice it. Okay, because if you go here, 1 times 1 equals 1, 2 times 1 is 2, and all the way down through. Okay, now I don't want to click anywhere else because I want to make sure that this all stays blue. Because what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to fill out this entire chart. So I'm going to go all the way down to number 20, and I'm going to find my crosshairs again, okay? And I'm going to click again with one finger, and with my other hand, because it makes it a little easier, I'm going to hold and I'm going to drag all these little dotted lines. Now remember, I'm going to go all the way to U, okay? So I'm going to keep holding, and remember, it doesn't stop at M. We just keep moving our mouse a little bit to the right, and we want to go all the way to U because that is where number 20 is. Okay, so I've got all the way down to 20, and I release, and just like that, we have an entire multiplication table, all right, so that you guys can practice your math. And it goes from 1 times 1 equals 2, or equals 1, all the way down. If you wanted to, you could go 20 times 20 equals 400. Okay? Now, obviously, you might think, okay, that's kind of cool, but it's also really, really complicated, and I don't like to move my screen back and forth, okay, because that makes things kind of difficult. Okay, so what we're going to try to do is we want to actually shrink this table down. So I'm going to go to my instructions, all right, and now I need to, number 4, minimize the size of my spreadsheet so that I can see all cells A1 to U22. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on cell B3 again and drag diagonal all the way to U22. So B3 all the way to U22. So I'm going to highlight all this, make it blue. Okay, and then I'm going to release. Okay, so I've got everything all blue there like I want. All right, let's go back to our instructions, see what they say. Okay, now it says autofill. We've already done that. Okay, we don't really need to go back to that. So I'm going to go back here. All right, and let's X out of that because that wasn't right. All right, so we just want to condense all these cells. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on A. I'm going to hold it. Okay, so I click and hold, and you can see that it's a blue. Okay, and my mouse turns to this little hand, and that's exactly what I want. Okay, now I'm going to hold it, and I'm going to go keep holding all the way to U. Okay, now you can see that the entire chart and all of my cells that I want to actually minimize are highlighted. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is between U and V, there's actually a little line, and this turns into like a darker blue, and we want our mouse to turn into this little sideways arrow pointing to the right. Okay, that's going to tell me that I can actually move this and synchronize and minimize each one of these little cells. So I'm going to get that little line, I'm going to click and hold, and I'm actually going to drag this line back. You can see that the line's moving. Okay, right here. I'm going to keep going until it's almost touching the U, and I'm going to release it. And now that you can see that I have gotten all of my cells onto one page, just like that. Okay, so now you can see all of your equations and everything that you want to see. All right. Now this kind of looks, gotta close that. Okay, now this kind of looks a little confusing and it's still not very organized. Okay, but we can actually organize this and make it, look really nice. Okay, so cosmetics to make your table look cool. Okay, so you can tap on every square and the square in the upper left corner. Okay, and it's unmarked between A and 1, not cell A1. Okay, this selects your entire table. Okay, then you can actually center all of your text. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my multiplication table, and this is the cell that we want. It's the A1. Okay, actually, no, it's this one right here. Okay, this one, see the FX and this one right here? It's blank, there's nothing in it. If I click on that, it highlights the entire table. Now, all of my numbers, if you look, are to the right. So we don't really want that. So what we're going to do is we're going to hover up here in our toolbar again, and you can see it says horizontal line. So we want to click on our arrow, and we want the center one again, just like we did for this name, for our names. Okay, we want to center everything. Boom. Okay, so now I've got a chart with all of my numbers, and everything should be right in the center. Okay. Now what you can do is you can start to kind of customize your chart and make it look a little better. So the first thing that I want to do, because I still want this to be a multiplication chart. So I want to make sure that my top line, so this line, this number, or these numbers, and these numbers are a little bit bigger and stand out. Just because if I am doing multiplication, I want to make sure that I can see my end numbers. So if I did 13 times 9, okay, I could find it pretty easily, and I could go to 99. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to make all these numbers up top in row 2. Okay, we're going to make them a little bigger. So if you notice, I click on 2 right here. Well, that makes all of these be highlighted, which is exactly what we want. So we're going to go up here. We're going to change it to, let's make that font size 14. All right, and we can actually change our font again, and we can make it bold. So I'm going to make this one bold. So now they're all, dark, and we can see them pretty easily. Okay, now I want to do the same thing for row A. So I'm going to click on A, and just like when I clicked on 2, A gets selected. Okay, now I want to make sure it's the same. So what did I do here? So I made this size 14, and I bolded it. Okay, so now you can see that these are standing out from these numbers. All right, and in a second I'll actually show you how we can paint those all really quickly. But if you notice, my name, it doesn't really look centered right now, right? And I don't really want that. I kind of want it to stretch all the way over here. So what I'm going to do is we're going to merge some more cells. So I'm going to click on H here. Excuse me. I'm going to go from D. If I don't want to grab it, I'm going to hover. Now this is kind of difficult just because you can't click on it and then drag. You got to click and drag all at once. So it's still the arrow. I'm going to click and hold. And now I'm going to drag. So I got to click and hold and drag. I'm going to go all the way till it's about, we'll say right there. Actually, I don't want that. We're going to click and drag it right here. So that way that we don't merge everything else. So you got the crosshairs right here, and I release. Now it's going to look like it messes it up, and it really doesn't. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and release that. Click merge. Click OK. And just like that, now I have merged all of my cells. Okay, so now it's centered. I still have my background. It's still yellow. It's still Mr. Roller. And like I said, it's still in the middle. But now, in my row 1, cells D through R are all merged right here. Okay, and then that just makes your name look a little cleaner, and it just makes it look a little better. Now what I want to do is I want to keep outlining my top numbers that I'm multiplying by. So right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on A. Okay, and now I've selected that entire row. Now it gets kind of tedious and it takes a little longer if you just do A and then you change the color and change the font. So you don't want to do that every time. So you can actually select on certain cells or more than one cell all at once. So I've clicked on this A, okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my command key. So I push down on command. And what this does is it actually allows me to select as many cells or different rows that I want. So I'm holding my command key, okay, and I'm going to click on 2. And as you can see, now I have my A column and my 2 all blue, okay? And now I'm going to release command, and it still says blue, and that tells me that I can actually change the color of all those cells. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the fill color, because remember fill changes the background, and I'm going to make all those yellow as well. So I can make all those yellow. So you can notice it's still blue, which is okay, and it changes to yellow. Now what if I want to change all the numbers to blue because I want to match my name? So I go to font because the numbers are just like font, and I go to the same color blue, and you can see that I have blue numbers and a yellow background, which looks kind of nice. You can also change these. If you want to click on these, okay, we can highlight those. We can make that fill color yellow. We can click on all these and make this fill color yellow as well. And just like that, we've got a clean looking chart. Okay. Now you don't have to worry about all these over here. Okay, just leave them for now. We can fix all those later. I'll show you guys how to shrink those up so they're not really in the way. But now you guys can see that you've got this entire chart. Okay, and you guys can actually use this to draw a picture. Okay, so if you look on your instructions, you can actually fill all the cells with a different color, and you can actually make a picture. So this one, it's from quite a while ago. It's from Henry Allison. But you say they did a good job. So they've got, just like we've got, okay, our numbers that we're multiplying by. They're different colors, so they're white numbers with a purple background. And then all of the answers to our multiplication table, they have a black kind of background. And all the numbers are changed to where we can see it. So if it's a black background, then obviously you want to make, the font pretty readable. So they just went ahead and made it white. Okay, and then they filled in and drew it and made a Pac-Man out of it. So that's kind of creative. The one that I've actually done is, as you can see, is I've created one to look like the Denver Broncos because they're the best team in the NFL. All right, so that's kind of awesome. So if I double-clicked on it, this is what it kind of looks like in the end. Okay, as you notice, I've actually shrunk down my table a little bit more, and you guys can do that later. But just think about what you guys kind of want to make a picture of. So if I go back to my chart, and I can click on all these cells. So let's just say I want to make a sort of circle or a square. Let's make a square. Okay. What I want to do is I can actually click on individual cells. So if I click on this one, I click it and I hold command. Okay. And if I want to make this one over here, and then this one over here, and this one over here, and this one over here, I'll deselect that one. Okay, you can notice that I've actually selected 4 different cells. All right, now that means that I'm only going to change those specific 4 cells. So I release command, and they still stay blue, okay, which is what I want. And I want to make those fill color, let's make those red, okay? So now I've made those fill colors red, and they're still blue. You can see a small blue outline around this one, and this one, and this one, okay? And now I've gotten to where I've just changed 4 different cells. Okay. Now I want to, because I don't really like red and black, it's kind of hard to see. I kind of want to make those white. So I go up here to my font color. Instead of black, which is the check mark, I'm going to go ahead and put it white. And as you can see, okay, that white really shows up well, and I can still see my answers really well. Okay. And now I've got 4 corners that are red with white font. And those are the 4 that I selected using the command key. Okay, now if I want to change these to a different color, I would click and drag, highlight those. Okay, and let's make those, what kind of background do we want? Let's make them green. Let's go green. Okay, and then once again, my font color still isn't that good. So I'm going to go to text color. Let's try white again. White looks pretty good. And just like that. So now we can actually go here again with this one. I'm going to fill, I'm going to make it green again. I'm going to change my font color to white. And there you go. And slowly but surely, we are making a square. I'm going to change these colors. Let's make them green again too. Let's just match. And I could have done this a little faster, but just for the sake of the video, we're just kind of going a little faster here. So I changed those colors. Oops, forgot to make the font color. Click here and drag. And I want to change that to green again. And font color once again. And as you can see, I'm starting to make a little square. Now, in the past, people have been really creative. They've made an Under Armour symbol. They've made, Mario jumping on a mushroom. And I'll probably show you guys some in class, but you guys kind of get the gist of it. So the whole goal of this is to create a multiplication table, and you guys learn how to actually fill using this equation up here. Okay, because all we did was we filled in our 2 column right here and our A row right here. Okay, and we just clicked right here on B3, entered an equation, and then we literally entered all these numbers by clicking and dragging. Okay, and that's why Google Sheets is really nice. This is kind of a simple way to get introduced into how it works. And drawing a picture is just kind of a fun way for you guys to figure out how to fill, how to hold command and click other ones, and how to actually make font and check out different angles on how to make a picture. So that's up to you guys. Use the rest of the time to actually make a picture of your choice, and then we will turn it in later into Classroom. So thanks for watching this video. I'll be circulating the room if you have any questions. Also, use your neighbors, get ideas, bounce ideas off of each other, be creative, and I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you learned something. So I will see you guys later, and I hope that you have a good rest of your day.